Hey, Wes.
Hello, Brian. Was that convincing? Did I sound like him?
I think if you stuck with it, yeah, I think you would have fooled a bunch of people in the chat.
I've been in one. I used to take acting when I was in high school and in college, and I've only ever been in one play ever that I actually auditioned for and was in, and it required me to speak with a British accent like the whole time, and I was on stage the whole time. Consequently,
What was the play?
A Christmas Carol. I played Jacob Marley.
Please tell me that there's footage of this somewhere. Somebody must have an old VHS
God, I
camera.
wish there were. God, I wish there is. I'm sure there is somewhere. I don't have it, but I know there were cameras there, so it'll probably pop up one day and ruin my life. But
if anybody went to grade school with Wes, please.
High school.
Sorry, even better. Please submit your footage to withoutparole@gmail.com. I want to be the first one to see it. And then I will decide what happens with that footage. You ready to start the show?
Sure.
Let's do it. This is PSVR GameScast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have no idea what to call these days when the wrong people are on the wrong shows. 6 p.m. Eastern. We do it live for your viewing pleasure right here on YouTube. 6 p.m. Eastern. I think I already said that. And if you like listening to this thing, podcast services of your choice. Yes, Spotify. Yes, Apple something. Yes, whatever you're thinking. It's there. It's there somewhere. My name is Brian Follick from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And this gentleman over here to my left, your right, it's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers, Jacob Marley himself.
Hello, Brian. Hello, that was a little more. That was more Australian, wasn't it? G'day, everyone. Hi, Brian. How's it going? I feel weird, man. It's been a long time since I've even been in front of this camera, and it doesn't seem like it's been long enough. I'm just kidding.
I can give you a couple weeks off if necessary.
No, I'm all good, man. Well, if we take another week off and it's a week like this week, I'm going to just be out of touch completely.
Yeah. Wally is now Gamecat, specifically White Tiger, with the level 1 membership, says the store scene in No Country for Old Men looks like Wes.
I like that scene. I don't know. I don't see the resemblance, but I like the scene. It's an interesting scene. There's lots of tension, right? You know the scene we're talking about, Brian?
So for a while, I thought I had seen No Country for Old Men, but then I realized the movie I was thinking of was called There Will Be Blood, because I think they came out kind of around the same time.
They did actually.
And so I don't think I've seen No Country for Old Men. I have no idea what the store scene is. My apologies.
All right. So No Country for Old Men, the scene he's talking about, this killer walks into this old, I don't know if it was like a service station or a hardware store or something, and he basically just, the lead character's super weird, and he starts talking in riddles, and the guy doesn't know, but his life hangs in the balance about whether or not the guy's going to shoot him in the face. It's pretty cool. But I like There Will Be Blood as well. They took my boy, or I killed my boy.
Man, you're gonna be so disappointed in me. I saw There Will Be Blood in the theater, and I was so bored, so bored. Listen,
I drink your milkshake, Brian. I drink it up.
No idea what's happening right now.
I'm butchering quotes from 15-year-old movies.
Excellent. I just Googled store scene from No Country for Old Men, so let's see if this is what we're looking for here.
Good move, friendo.
We are getting copyright claimed, no question about it here.
Oh, that's happening.
We're just gonna watch this movie for a little bit and wait till I see someone that looks like Wes. Not talking about the guy behind the counter, the fucking 60, 70-year-old guy. What guy are we talking about?
Maybe I look old, bro.
I mean, I don't know, but either way, I've had enough of this. I'm already bored. Even my hunt for somebody that looks like Wes has bored me.
Yeah, let's do the show and go watch Kill Bill. That one's
it.
better anyway.
All right. We got some tips in the chat. We got slapping that ass. That's right. That's what I said. $2 tip said Quest 3 pre-ordered. Wait, maybe this is the wrong channel. Nice.
Maybe it is today. Who knows? A year from now, might be the right channel.
I told you,
Probably
man.
not,
I will only switch if Nintendo delivers a VR headset. And if they do that,
did you
awesome.
pre-order? Did you pre-order yet, or are you going to just wait?
No. I'm going to wait. And here's why, Wes. No shade being thrown at Quest 3 or Meta right now, but that Meta Connect, which I know was not supposed to be about games, bored the crap out of me. And I said, you know what? I can wait.
Yeah, the Connect sucked. It did. Yeah. I am excited for the hardware though. I'm actually oddly excited for mixed reality, and I don't know why it just dawned on me over the last week, but this co-location shit looks cool. Like being able to physically stand around a table with people and play stuff like Demeo. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a game changer for multiple reasons. One, people stay connected while they're playing in the headset. Two, people aren't going to get sick, dude. You're going to be able to put people in this thing, put it in this like half VR mode, and people are going to be able to play it and not get sick. This is how people get their legs, and that's what I'm excited about.
I already have my legs. I'm good. We're going to move on.
Yeah, me too.
Mixed reality is one of the most boring things I could possibly ever be shown in the VR space. I just have zero interest in it whatsoever. And I get that there's an audience for it. I'm very happy for those people that they're getting something that has like this really great pass through with games that they can play in mixed reality. And that's cool. Very happy for them. The Stranger Things thing was very cool with the portal opening on the wall. And I was like, that would be cool one time. And then every time I see something like that after, I would just be like, yeah, okay, well, we've seen this shit. It's a gimmick. I got it.
Yeah. I hear Drop Dead the Cabin is going to have a built-in mode for it as well. So like, I don't know if you've ever played that, but it's a zombie shooter that puts you in a cabin and zombies start coming in through the doors and windows and stuff. And basically the MR mode is going to do that in your house or your apartment. So zombies will be coming through the windows and doors, and you can hide behind your couch for cover, stuff like that.
I have no place to walk around in my apartment. I have one place to stand to play VR, and I've got a nice little play area there, and every place else is just occupied. Occupado. Trash Kid Gamecat 125 VFR with the two pounds quid. Yep. Says, Brian, do you have the After the Fall Platinum? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You are asking the wrong guy. Westy, you have the After the Fall Platinum?
No, but I will say this. It is my preferred, PSVR2 is my preferred platform to play that game on now. I don't play it a lot anymore. Once every few weeks, maybe once a month. But when I get in, I do get in on my PSVR2 because even though there is just the slightest little step down graphically from PC, the haptics, we're going to call them traptics, the haptics and the triggers more than make up. It's more than a sufficient trade-off, in my opinion. So I choose to play on PSVR2, even though I have to start over again with unlocking all the guns, and which is kind of the point of the game anyway. So I don't really mind.
Wes, we got a lot of
They broke the PC version, man. They basically, when they introduced that game mode that allowed you to augment your weapons with traits. Mm-hmm. For like 2 months, you could build a shotgun that was just so OP that it one shot at everybody and never ran out of ammo. So like I used that and completely unlocked every weapon and every attachment, and it completely ruined the game on PC for me. Wow. So, yeah.
Cheaters never win, Wes.
I was a cheater. I fairly acquired it. It was in the game. Everyone was using it. Everyone was doing it, Brian.
Wes, yesterday was kind of a surprise. Over on the PlayStation blog and on the PlayStation YouTube channel, it was sort of non-stop action for about just over an hour, I believe. Kind of talking about PlayStation VR2 games, release dates, announcements, etc. Were you on top of this? Like, were you playing catch up after the fact, or were you sitting at your computer like I was and refreshing every 15 minutes?
No, somebody tagged me right at the very end of it, which nobody knew that was the end of it at the time.
Right.
Like they were like, "What's coming next?" But somebody tagged me, and it was something to the effect of, Wes just carries West Day with him to Friday or something like that. And I just looked and happened to find out that, oh my God, who knew today is VR day for Sony? So in a very transparent attempt to follow up on the wave from Meta the day prior, Sony basically just unloaded the rest of their third-party stuff that they've been promoting. And that's cool because a couple of these games I'm really looking forward to.
That is how it feels. That it was games that we had seen before, and we had seen before from Sony at Sony events. I feel like the third-party path is so wide, and there's so many different games that they could have brought into the fold, like Undead Citadel. I mean, I could go to the release calendar right now and name off like 20 that Sony themselves have never talked about. But that path is so wide, but yet they stay so narrow. They're like, we've chosen this game and this game and this game, and we announced them, and then we gave you updates on them, and now we're giving you release dates on them in new trailers. And it's just like, well, why not widen that path just a little bit? There's an infinite number of third-party people you could be supporting and third-party games you could be announcing. And I think when Sony does that, it sort of dampens the haters' abilities to say, "Oh, there's no games," because a lot of times you're seeing these games being revealed by Meta, and then PlayStation VR2 is also getting them. So then it feels like, oh, well, that's already on Quest. If PlayStation's the one to announce it, then we go, well, we've got these, and then we can point at Quest gamers and go, but we've already got those. You're just getting a PlayStation VR2 game. No big deal.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little scary, man. To be honest, and again, I don't want to. I'm not trying to imply that I don't think the games are going to come from Sony eventually, but we've always kind of had this theory that Sony's holding back because Meta's going to do Connect later in the year, and they're going to hold back their big guns for a showcase sometime around or after that, so that they could bring in holiday sales. And they came at us with a bunch of more of what they've been bringing us, third-party stuff, in the face of Meta yesterday showing us footage from 2 AAA VR games that are coming to Quest 3 that look pretty dang good. Yeah. And then the news that Quest 3 is going to have 100 titles supporting it before the end of the freaking year, which is 3 months. Like, it's a little scary, Brian. It's a little scary.
Well, it's scary for you. Not so scary for me.
It's scary for me because I'm going to try to cover all these damn games. And
exactly.
I can't.
I'm not terribly concerned about Quest 3. I'm terribly concerned about October, because October seems to be the target for whatever reason for all of these games to be released. And that to me is getting scary, because it was a little bit funny when it was like, oh, it's October. Oh, another game coming out in October. Oh, right. Well, it's a scary game. It must be coming out in October. Then Vertigo 2 was like also October. And then, it's no longer a joke. It's not funny anymore, because now it's just mean. It's just like every game says, oh yeah, we're coming out in October as well. And it's like, well, there's no time. There's no time for gamers to play all these games. You're really going to have to pick and choose.
Money.
Yeah, there's not enough money to buy them all.
Buy all this stuff, man. I don't understand. I mean, I kind of get what they're going for here. Obviously, they expect VR to be on a little bit of a high coming out of this week and going into the holiday season. But literally putting all the games in a 4-week span, who's going to buy all this stuff? It seems like you're going to sell less, at least initially. People will catch up. Obviously, they'll finish one game and move on to the next one. But man, This month, I don't know. We haven't seen a month like this, with maybe the exception of February, with all of the launch titles for PSVR2. Like this is the most packed I've ever seen a month with releases, and it's crazy.
Yeah, launch was insane, and then we had a nice little push after that a couple months later when we got a bunch of other games. But yeah, this is practically outside of launch unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. And it's not just, oh, we've got a lot of games. We've got a lot of fucking good games coming over the next 30 days, 31 days.
You know what the weird thing is? Like, of all the stuff that's coming out in October, I'd say Vertigo 2 is probably one of my top 2 or 3 anticipated stuff coming in October, and I've already played most of that game. Like, I've already played most of it, and I'm so excited to see what it's going to look like on PSVR 2 and feel like, and all the new content it's getting. Like, I'm super pumped for that, and everyone should be too.
Well, Wes, I just like the silence. It's nice, just peace and quiet. Isn't it nice just not have to talk? Just enjoy each other's company.
Allows me to center myself, be present.
It's nice. These 12 seconds were brought to you by Perp Games. All right, man. Well, I don't remember the order of how things kicked off yesterday, but I do know that the first one we're going to talk about is a game that kind of disappeared for a ridiculous amount of time and has now resurfaced, and that's Among Us VR. Like, just flabbergasted by what's going on with this game. Meta must have swooped in at some point for some kind of exclusivity, because nothing else makes any sense here. This was supposed to come out on PSVR 1, and then they quietly canceled that. And it was, PSVR 2 launch. And then they were like, oh, we didn't mean launch. We meant later than launch. And then they didn't say anything for 7 months. And then this trailer comes out yesterday, and it says, coming soon. Like,
soon. Everything's coming soon, Brian. Everything.
Oh man, I'm going to be really happy to have this. This feels like one of those games that's going to take up a ridiculously low amount of space on my hard drive, and it can just sit there for all eternity. And anytime all the cats, anybody in our community says, "Hey, who wants to get in and do a big 10-player game of Among Us?" It'll be great for a laugh. Play for a half an hour, and be like, "It was there, just good to have."
It is good for a laugh. I will give it that. Well, only because my friends are so hilarious. Try playing this with like Betty and Tiffany, and it's fun. It's a good time.
I feel like I played it with Betty and Tiffany, and you? Were you there?
Did we? I don't know. I played it a bunch when it launched on Quest. Like that first week or two, I played it a lot, but I haven't been back to it since. But it's very possible you were in one of those, because we were rolling people in and out like crazy.
Yeah. It's very fun with friends. I don't know how much I'd want to play this with random people. Like, I wouldn't want to go just find a random lobby and play online with a bunch of kids or just strangers. Like, I think the fun part is laughing at your friends, because like you feel like your friends well enough to call them out in a lie, and just be able to like just scream at your friends, be like, you're lying, and then just be able to lie to your friends like in a game. I don't know. There's something here, and I actually do appreciate this a little bit more than Werewolves Within. Even though Werewolves Within was deeper, this is way easier to get into, and I think it's because of that. There's not so much friction, and so people want to play this, I think, a little bit more than Werewolves, more frequently at least.
It does make you wonder though if it's going to be quite on the quality level of Spaceship Imposter VR multiplayer deduction simulator Among Game.
Dude, I was desperately hoping that game was going to beat this game to the punch, because I think we all would have bought it just for a laugh, and
100%.
And then got our Among Us VR fix and been like, well, it's too bad, Shell. You snooze, you lose. It's over. But $10.
I'm hot, Tiffany.
They said on the PlayStation blog, all of these, if you're interested in further information than Wes and I are giving on any of these games, you can head on over to the PlayStation blog, and there are articles about almost each and every one of them, which is surprising, I'll say.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Sure was. All right, man. The next one we got, I believe, was Journey to Foundation. This one was all about a release date trailer, but it did show some more gameplay. And I really do think that that this one has the potential to be maybe a sleeper hit or just better than anybody expects it to be. I think this one's going to be real good.
Yeah.
What was the release date? October 26th, right? October
26th. Yeah, man. It's been a while since we had a game that was heavily narrative driven. Like we don't get, we used to get stuff like this in the early days, but it seems like in this most recent like era for VR where Quest 2 dominated, like we don't get a whole lot of games that are super heavily story driven. Like, Saints and Sinners comes to mind, but nothing else really does. So I'm excited for that aspect of it. It does seem like it's a well-produced game, although I am slightly afraid but that there's no PC support for this. So, you have that thing where it is kind of being optimized for standalone VR, and you wonder how much of a hit we're going to have to take because of that. But I'm optimistic. The footage looks good. The more I read about some of the features and the way the game's put together, it seems like something that, in spite of being heavily story driven, is going to be replayable. I'm very optimistic about this game, and I'm excited about it. Like, out of all the crap that they revealed yesterday, this is the one I chose to write an article on, because this is the one that I'm like really super looking forward to.
And where can people read that article, Wes?
xrupdate.com.
You need a better jingle.
Where we, I'm working on that. Where we do have a slightly out of date calendar where we keep up with all the releases. I'm just not the best about getting the new dates up immediately in it, but like the day after stuff gets announced, we typically update the calendar, and it goes through the end of the year. So check it out.
Well, feel free to use our Discord's calendar whenever necessary for PSVR2 games, because I try to keep that up to date, although not terribly good at it.
Yeah, probably about as good as I am.
Yeah, if they are actually allowing us the freedom in Journey to Foundation to play this game how we want, they've talked a lot about using diplomacy or stealth versus going in guns blazing. And if that really is, if this is one of those games where there's a trophy for never firing your weapon, making it through the whole thing without being detected, or just going and killing everybody, if there are options to do that, then I really think this game is going to deliver what I want. And I've never read the books. I have not watched the Apple series. So this is all new to me. This is a new world. And but from what I've seen, it looks like one that I'm going to be interested in exploring.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. I did recently watch an excellent Apple series, though. The first Apple series I've ever watched, called Severance. I highly recommend it. Check it out.
I've seen the first 5 episodes of Severance. How far have you gotten? Have you completed it?
Yeah, I completed the season. Yeah.
Okay. It's just one season right now?
Yeah, they were supposed to release a second season next year, but I think the writer's strike kind of delayed it a little bit. So they're kind of in the middle of filming it, but it's going to take a while to finish it.
Yeah, well, I will get caught up because I liked it so far. It's taken me 2 attempts, and I fell off of it both times, but I am interested. I want to see where it goes.
It gets weird.
I like weird.
I do too. But no, I completely agree with you. I'm curious, Brian, when I get into these games that are heavily narrative driven and have branching paths, and you can be a good guy or a bad guy, notably Saints and Sinners again. Do you ever have typically I play these games as if it's real life. So I'm making conscious moral decisions.
Yeah.
And even when I want to be evil in the game, like, it's hard for me to do it. Even though I know these aren't real people and the story's not real, it's hard for me to be evil. Although when I do push myself to be evil, I go like super evil and love every minute of it. It's just hard for me to do that. Do you have the same kind of thing going on where you just, this is my first playthrough, I'm going to kind of play it as I would in real life?
If I wasn't reviewing the games, then yes. Like back when I played Fallout 3 just for funsies, I played through and really tried to not be evil and not be a saint. I tried to kind of go through and just do things as I would in natural progression. And especially the further I got into it, realizing I'm like, I'm spending a couple hundred hours in this game. I don't think I'm going to replay it. And so I was happy to kind of, play both fields a little bit. And but when I review something, like if this really does give me the option to go in guns blazing and kill everybody in sight, or go through peacefully, I will do my absolute best to go through and see how radically different the two playthroughs are. But that's where I'm at with it.
The way it typically works for me is I'll walk the line and do the good guy thing until I get to a certain point where a character just gets on my nerves, and then I just flip and go evil. That's how I ended the original Saints and Sinners. Like I was a good guy all the way up until the end where you're standing in front of the bell thing, and then I just flipped and everything went to hell from that point forward. And I kind of started to do the same thing in Saints and Sinners 2. There's the thing where you have to go visit Whistles to get the grenade launcher, but you have to help her save her friend, and I accidentally killed her friend, and I went back to give her the bad news, and she started freaking out, so I just shot her and like blew her up, and I was like, all right, so I'm evil now. But unfortunately, there was a bug in the game that didn't let me finish that mission at that point, even though I had already finished it. I'd already gotten the all the stuff I needed. In game, it didn't finish that mission, and it wouldn't start the next mission. So literally, I had to go back and replay that whole thing again, and I just was a good guy for the rest of the game after that.
Yeah. Did I screw up? I thought Serial Killer in the chat was telling me that the Isaac Asimov things were books. I was like, yeah, there's a series of books. What did I say? Did I say something other than that?
You were talking about the Apple Television series, but it's both.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sorry. What I meant to say was I've never read the books, and I've never seen the Apple show. Maybe I said I've never seen the movie. I don't know what I've said, but you shouldn't listen to me anyway, because all I do is blabber on and on about shit that no one cares about. Time to end the show. I think we got some tips to get caught up on here. They're somewhere around here. Here they are. Super cool video, bro, with the $5 tip says Nintendo VR rumored to be standalone from the new Switch. Y'all think this is better than a peripheral? Would another console headset get coverage here? Do you think if Nintendo was to do a standalone VR headset separate from the Switch 2, is that better than having a peripheral that attaches to the Switch 2?
Most likely. And the reason why I say that is for a couple of reasons. One, form factor. Like if you're going to slide a Switch into a VR headset, that thing's going to look like a Pimax. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's not going to be comfortable. Secondly, I don't see Switch 2 having a good enough screen to really provide a great VR experience. I'm sure it'll be better than the Switch screen. But I mean, it would have to have like a 4K OLED screen on it to make that work. And it's not going to. Most likely it'll have a 1080p LCD on it. And then there'll be a special one later that has a 4K OLED sometime in 2026. But no, I wouldn't think so. I think standalone would be the way to go with that.
He said, would another console headset get coverage here? And I think the answer is in the same way that Quest did. If I like something, then I'm going to talk about it. We talk about movies here. We talk about music. We talk about all sorts of shit. And so if Nintendo puts out a headset and it has Mario Kart, dude, I'm like, I apologize, but I'm going to be talking about Mario Kart VR probably as much as I talked about Walkabout Mini Golf before we got that shit on PSVR2. So right. It's going to happen if it happens. So yeah, man, I like to talk about all the stuff I like here. Mark Pringlesleaf with the level 1 membership says, I need to win the lottery for the October games. Yeah, I can totally understand that. It's going to be expensive. Senador, the Game Tiger, with the $2 tip says, felt my backlog grow with every blog post yesterday.
God, son, I'm so intimidated.
Yeah, I'm going to try to stay on top of it. Obviously, I won't be able to review everything, but dude, it's what I'm happy about, Wes, is that there's like 4 games coming out in November, and so what's going to happen is October is just going to stretch over 2 months for me, and I'm just going to cover like I'm just going to keep reviewing October games all through November, and so I'm basically going to get 2 months of horror and 2 months of playing awesome games rather than just one. Wally is now Gamecast.
Like that for me.
What's that?
So, yeah, it's not going to work that way for me.
It's not going to work that way for me either. I just like to pretend that I have it all figured out. Wally is now Gamecat, specifically White Tiger, says, with the Canadian $5 tip, says, if Resident Evil 4 makes 2023, which we're now assuming it will, based on that last blog post, how great was this year for VR? Resident Evil 8 and 4, Switchback, Foglands, Gran Turismo 7, 4 shooters, Horror Galore, Light Brigade, Foundation, Synapse, Red Matter 1 and 2, and more. Best year for VR ever. That's my answer.
Probably. And it's probably going to go down in terms of the overall year as the best year for VR releases ever. And it's also going to go down as the most disappointing ever. Not for me, but for people. Like, I've never seen so many, disgruntled people in such a bounty in all my life. You know what I mean? People are...
It's true.
It's like... and I get it. I understand there are reasons behind that, and people are afraid that there's not going to be first-party support and all that. But there are games. Anybody saying that there's not games is just not paying attention, or they're being dishonest. There's games, and there's good ones coming soon.
Dude, and I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it one more time. I would over and over and over again prefer that Sony throw $5-10 million at developers to bring their AAA games into VR than for them to like do something like Call of the Mountain, which I thought was a great game. But would I rather have Resident Evil 4 remake in VR? Would I rather have Village in VR? Yes, 100%. I would rather have Dead Island 2 in VR. I would rather have, there's Cyberpunk. I mean, there are so many amazing AAA games out there that I'm just never going to fucking play. Not on the flat screen. Yeah. But if Sony throws $10 million at them to bring it into VR, yeah, I'll absolutely do that. And that's what they seem to be doing. That's what they did. They've done it twice already with Capcom for Resident Evil 4 and 8. And then, and then obviously the hybrid model for Gran Turismo 7. I really do think this is going to be the hybrid generation. And hopefully people are buying these games, and hopefully people are playing these games on PSVR2, because I think that's what a lot of gamers want. Let me know in the chat if you don't, like if you're against this, but I feel like that's what we've been asking for a long time. And I think that's the only way to get VR off the ground.
I agree. Well, it's certainly a key component of kind of getting us to that next level and giving people these, grand $60 games that everybody's pining away for. This is the only way it happens at this early stage in VR's history, is to kind of have it be a mode like Resident Evil 4, like Gran Turismo 7. But yeah, I mean, back to like the original question, in terms of VR as a whole, like, we had PSVR's had the year it's had, which is incredible on its own. Now Quest 3's coming with its 100 some odd games, and many of those big budget games. And then you look at PC with the Prey Dog mod that's coming, which is basically going to make any Unreal Engine game into a VR game. When have we ever had a year like this? Never, ever, ever. That's when.
Never, ever, ever. And Sony's going to make sure that next year is just as good, because they announced yesterday Heroes of Forever, which looks like fucking really bad, I think. I think it looks real bad. They should not have included this. I'm sorry. Maybe it's fun as fuck. They should not have included this.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, exactly. It might be fun, but this looks like an early Quest game. Like, it doesn't look like something you want to put in part of your showcase for sure.
Right. It looks like it's utilizing the whole travel through time and fight waves of enemies in different time periods. First you're fighting dinosaurs, then you're fighting modern, then you're fighting World War II, then you're fighting what? It's like, is that what's happening here? Who the fuck cares? It looks like it looks like Crisis Brigade 1, which was nice, but I don't think we want more of that art style and more of these and it looks like it's stationary as well, which I don't think we want either. Just
looks like a Crisis Brigade sequel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crisis Brigade was good in its time, but as we have noticed and has been abundantly clear this year, people's standards are changing, and we're done with stuff like this.
Yeah, and we've absolutely seen, we've seen what indie studios can do. We've seen what one-person studios can do. We've seen what 2 or 3 person studios can do, and they can do so much better than this. We don't need games to look like this or be as simple gameplay-wise as this. And we're making a lot of assumptions here, obviously. We're assuming this is what the game will look like when it's done next year. We're assuming that it does play like Crisis Brigade and that you're standing in one spot. However, they haven't really given us any other indication that what we're thinking isn't accurate, and I do have a problem with that. Again, games can look very simple and be very, very fun. I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't think this was the time to reveal this. When you're just like trying to showcase, hey, we're coming up to the holidays, and we're just trying to show you game after game after game that are all coming out in the next 2 months or so, and then they throw this game out there that's not even coming out anytime soon, and it doesn't look very good. I think this was a major misstep yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Just in Time Incorporated. It was a fun game, but I don't need another one. I don't. We're past this now. Like in the face of all the stuff that we're getting this month, this just looks like a $10, something that you would pick up maybe one day because you're bored and just want to check it out. But it doesn't belong in the VR day lineup, in my opinion. I agree.
Agreed. A little interesting, I guess, is that we also got news about a Tin Hearts VR2 demo. Now, this game already came out on the flat screen, I believe, and everybody was like, where's the VR mode? What's happening with that? And if I remember correctly, these developers said you will get the VR update for free if you own the flat screen game, so that's awesome news. But if you're not too sure if you should be picking this up, November 2nd will bring us a demo of this game for PlayStation VR2. And that's what this entire trailer is about. That's what the entire announcement was about, was that, hey, there's a demo coming. We still don't know when the full game will be available in VR.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can't imagine that it would be much longer. Like, I can't imagine that it would take much longer, unless, again, I played this game years ago on Steam. I only played the first few levels. Maybe it wasn't finished out at that point. Maybe it's a much longer game now. But yeah, I don't know why it's taken this long to release, honestly.
These coming soons are disturbing. Among Us coming soon, Tin Hearts VR coming soon. They go, okay, cool, but like not October, please. Like, we don't want them coming that soon. Just wait.
Tin Hearts seems like a December game. It seems like a Christmas game to me.
Yeah, with all those little toy soldiers marching around. I absolutely get the Christmas vibes from this for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to some of these tips here. We've got Waleed is now a GameCat, specifically a White Tiger with Canadian $2 tip, says, one day after Jim Ryan's retirement announcement, PSVR2 blowout. I know it's a coincidence, but it does feel good.
It's funny. It's a funny coincidence, isn't it? Because this was planned long before that news leaked. And the only reason, by the way, that they put that memo out was because of the data leak. And they probably already knew that if they didn't say it now, that it was going to be leaked anyway. But it's cool. It's nice to know, that we've had the ongoing debate, right, about the Jim Ryan era. Is it a master stroke strategy, drip feeding people until a certain day and then giving us what we've been waiting for after all the anticipations built up? Is it that, or is it just complete ineptitude on the part of the Jim Ryan regime? The good thing is it doesn't matter anymore because it's nearly over. One way or the other, it's almost over.
Yeah. I will be extremely curious to see if anything actually changes post Jim Ryan era.
The game brings Sean Layden back.
That'd be cool, man. I don't know. I saw a lot of people tweeting at Shuhei though. I think Shuhei is the fan favorite.
That's never going to happen, but it would be amazing if it did.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped down to just deal with indie studios. I think he's found kind of his passion and where he wants to be in life. So, but if he did it, I'd be so on board.
It's going to be Herman Holst, and literally every game from now on is going to be a Horizon game.
The gamer formerly known as Get In LOL My Belly Wilkins, hey, I finally said it right, with a $20 tip, sends us an emoji that's, I love this description, a hippo character standing idle whilst his new and most powerful body attachment do their thing with the words OP in the background. That is the most descriptive fucking emoji I've ever heard of in my life.
Sounds cool.
Does sound pretty cool. Super cool video, bro. The $2 tip says, with VR progressing, I can read. With VR progressing, y'all think about simulation theory? I think about simulation theory every single day. In fact, some days I use it in order to convince myself not to get out of bed. I say, well, it doesn't matter. This is just a game.
It does matter. It does matter. I think about simulation theory all the time as well, and I absolutely believe it. But I don't believe it kind of the way that other people believe it, and it would take an hour to kind of explain my thoughts on it. But
I think we have time if it makes you feel better.
I'll put it all in one sentence. If there's a creator, then everything is a simulation to the creator, right? Right? Right. A lot of people don't believe in creationism, but are open to the idea of everything being a simulation. If this is a simulation, then something built it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's obvious. I think that much is obvious. So I absolutely believe it's a simulation. And it may be running on a loop, which is like reincarnation or whatever, and it may not be. But I think it's pretty obvious that...
This is far more interesting than anything else we've talked about today. I say we stick with this for the next hour.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Let's go for it.
All right. We also get a Tiger Blade release date announcement. It's coming November 17th. This one probably fell off a bunch of people's radars because this was one that was shown, I believe, at a State of Play. Is that correct, Wes? Do you remember this properly? I don't remember.
Which one are we on now?
Tiger Blade.
Yeah. We saw Tiger Blade. Either it was in a State of Play, or it might have even been in that showcase with like Five Nights at Freddy's and all that stuff.
Arizona.
But it was
that?
Yeah. That? It was in one of those.
Okay.
Yes.
They're all so bad that they just run together seamlessly in my head, and they're all big mush of unimpressive events.
Yes.
Tiger Blade, November 17th. The thing, I was very confused the first time I saw this game, but the PlayStation blog eased my confusion after this trailer got released. And what's happening is every time you kill an enemy, the game automatically teleports you to the next enemy. And there are things in the environment that you can swipe that will allow you to do things like grapple from place to place. But so it seems like they've taken all of the movement out of the player's hands completely. And all you're doing is slashing at enemies, which concerns me because I didn't like, was it Ninja Legends? Which felt very, very bland. It felt like
Ninja Legends was, it was completely stationary. There was no movement in it at all, other than there's dudes coming up behind you, turn around. I did like Ninja Legends though in its time. I'm not so sure I'd like it so much today, but when it came out, I liked it. I don't know, man. I'm taking a wait and see on Tiger Blade. I think it looks cool. I like the art style. I don't mind an arcade slasher. That's fine by me. But you're right. This movement thing is kind of weird. You want to say that they're making it easy for noobs, but then again, I mean, if you're moving in the game, then it's not really going to make it all that much better for noobs. People are still going to get sick. So I don't know. I want to play it and find out, but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on this one.
I feel you. Wait and see is looking pretty good. I just don't know. Like I've who was it in the chat? Was it Nihilist Ryan saying that this has some Zombieland Headshot Fever vibes? And I guess I can kind of see that. And I really did enjoy Zombieland. So maybe I'm not giving this enough credit while I watch the trailer.
Looks cool. I mean, it looks like it kind of reminds you of Pistol Whip with no music and no guns, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
You get me thinking more about simulation theory. I'm like, this is reprojection, and I mean,
you see it, you can see it, right?
Pretty sure this is foveated rendering over here. Can't quite see it. Looks kind of blurry. I need to upgrade to the Pro.
Need more clarity. Badly in need of upgrade to the Pro. for sure.
Trash Kid Gamecat, in response to Heroes, whatever the name of that game was, the Time Crisis one, says, so it's just time carnage. Kind of, yeah. I mean, that seemed like the concept behind Time Carnage, and it looked like the same one that we were just talking about. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan. I don't know if we've talked about this before on the show, Wes, but I'm not a big fan of time travel games in general, mostly because they just feel so kind of generic. It's like, oh, you traveled to this time and you met Albert Einstein. Oh, you traveled to this time and you met Abraham Lincoln. It's like, what, dude? You know, like I live in 2023 and I've never met Donald Trump. Never. But I guarantee you in 50 years, if somebody makes a game about time traveling and you travel back to the year 2023, you're going to meet fucking Donald Trump. You're going to meet a bunch of fucking famous people. It doesn't happen, right? I've always hated that about time travel games. It's like, how convenient is it that you're traveling to the exact right place to meet the exact person, and it's somebody you recognize from history? Oh, look, it's Mark Twain. No. You know how many people met Mark Twain during the 70 years Mark Twain was alive? Like,
shots fired, Wanderer.
I'm just saying. No, I actually think Wanderer did it pretty well because, like, we really didn't meet famous people. It was just different eras.
Yeah. So I like the concept of a time travel adventure game. I don't think it's something that's been executed on very well in the VR catalog. I think Wanderer is about the one good example of it. But it is something I've always wished that we had more of, because what I do love in VR is finding myself in an earlier time period. It's one of my favorite things about Here They Lie is you're going back and you're looking at all this old technology with the old rotary phones and that, you know, all of this stuff that's in this black and white place. And it isn't like a completely like old. I mean, it's like what, 50s or 60s era stuff. But I love the feeling. I get nostalgic for it, even though I wasn't alive back then, which is kind of weird. But I wish there was more of that sort of thing in VR, and there just isn't very often.
Everybody just called us out for forgetting that Nikola Tesla isn't Wanderer.
Oh, I didn't forget. I didn't forget it. I just didn't want to call you out on it.
I mean, I did like Wanderer because at least most of it wasn't like that. But that kind of stuff bothers me. It really does. I'm like meeting historical people. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, can we all have a moment of silence for Wes? He's not going to be able to play Here They Lie this Halloween like he wants to. He's been talking about it, and he managed to bring it up on today's show. And I think because the gears are turning, and he's looking at the release calendar for PSVR2, and I'm sure there's shit coming out on PC as well and Quest that is going to prevent him from playing his annualized playthrough of Here They Lie. Let's have a moment of silence for the death of Here They Lie.
Another moment of silence. No, I'm going to play Here They Lie. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do all the other PSVR 1 stuff that I had planned on doing this month. Like, I wanted to play some, like, since I'm breaking it out for Here They Lie, I want to play Farpoint. I want to play Astrobot. I wanted to check out some of the better, older horror games, like, like Blair Witch and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem like there's going to be time for that. I'm going to be playing Madison and Happy Funland and all this stuff. Like, I'm not going to have time. But I do think I am going to make it a point to find some night that I'm able to play through Here They Lie because I miss it and I love it. And people need to know about that game and about how awesome it is.
If we let it die, then it dies. But we will keep the message of that game alive for all eternity.
Indeed.
If we have to port it to PSVR2 ourselves, goddammit, we're going to make it happen.
Well, if I ever win the lottery, it's the first thing I'm doing. I'm buying the rights to that game and hiring somebody to make it right. Because it is technically a mess. Like, it was terribly, like, the controls are horrible. It makes you sick to play it. It's like, it's not good. It's just what the game is. I love. It's the best walking simulator of all time because of the imagery in the game that's just shocking at times, the messaging and the meaning behind the game, the symbolism. I love it. It's so great.
Rob Yescombe in the chat. I don't know if it's the actual Rob Yescombe, but if it is, hello. He says, "Hey Brian, I'm in here." Very cool. Hopefully you're doing well, and very excited to see what you've contributed to Arizona Sunshine 2. We'll get to Arizona Sunshine 2 in just a bit, though. The previews came out today. I don't think what we were expecting, for all sorts of different reasons. Rob Axel in the chat says, "What game should I get next for PSVR 2? Is Paper Beast any good?" I'm not. Listen, I'm not a Paper Beast fan. I'm just not. I want to be. I love Eric Chahi games, and I don't love Paper Beast. I don't love some of the puzzles. I wasn't thrilled with that the $5 upgrade fee didn't really upgrade a whole lot in the PSVR 2 version. It doesn't look as sharp as I would like it to. And full locomotion's good, but then there's even limitations to that. It's just, I don't know. I'm glad it's here, but that wouldn't, if you gave me a list of 5 games and Paper Beast was on that list, I guarantee you I wouldn't be selecting that for the game you buy.
Yeah, I haven't played the remake yet. I haven't played much any of VR of the last couple of weeks. But in its time, I did enjoy Paper Beast. I'm a bit disappointed to hear that it's not super sharp in the PSVR 2 headset. I may have gotten in it if it weren't for that. But I did like the game. I like weird games. This is a weird game. And it's exploration based, which I also like. It's fine. It's a good game, in my opinion.
6 out of 10.
But not for everybody, for sure.
Yeah. I wish it was for me. Wish it was for me. King Rollo, the James Cat with the 2 quid says, "Check out Donald Hoffman for Simulation Theory." I would love to say that I'm going to do that, but I probably won't. I feel like I've gotten in a lot of simulation theory in my life somehow. Just hang out with Jeremy King for more than 5 minutes and you will get it. Yeah, you'll have a completely different outlook on life in general. The gamer formerly known as Get In LOL My Belly, Gamecat Wilkins, says, with a $20 tip, by the way, thank you, says, "So what happens when we get Jim Ryan again as the new reincarnated CEO? LOL." I think I'm going to be dead by then, so I think we're okay.
I think he's done, man. I think he's had enough. And I think we all need to change, not just us VR people. I think everyone's ready for a new direction.
Nick Milo, the Game Cat, with the level 3 membership. I knew this was coming today. Said, "It's okay, Wes. Here They Lie is just walking around and reading stuff. Super boring. Put me to sleep in the headset."
You didn't play it far enough.
This is his response to your No Man's Sky opinions, by the way.
And by the way, the stuff that you're reading is super disturbing. It's not just like it's not like you're playing some game like there was something recently that was just all reading and it was hard to stomach. But it's not one of those. Like the stuff you're reading is weird and perverse and violent, and it's not boring at all. But I respect your opinion.
Mikey D, Cosmo VR Gamecat with the $5 tip says, "Here They Lie is one of my favorite PSVR 1 games, but I will never set that octopus of cables up again." I think that's fair.
Also a fair point. That is also a fair point.
If I ever...
Sad that we have to.
If I ever unplug my PlayStation VR 1, it probably will not be ever plugged in again. Virtual Slayer Cat gifted 10 memberships to people in the Without Parole community. Thank you so much, Virtual Slayer Cat, for your generosity. Ace Gamer Cats with the $20 tip says, "There's so many talented members in this community. How have we not started a Gamecat studio that's dedicated to porting our favorite games to PSVR 2? I mean, I guess if we all pool our money and just, yeah. And then we just take votes on what games we're going to secure the rights to and then hire decent port studios. This is going to cost a lot of money, Wes. I don't know if we're getting our money back on this stuff.
I think if we could get every subscriber to put in $100, we could make it happen. At least for one title, we could probably make it happen. Now, get everyone to agree on the title. There's the trick.
Right, 100,000 people to make one decision. It's got to be BioShock. If it's not BioShock, I'm not participating.
Oh, well, that might be a little bit more tricky.
Super cool video, bro. The $2 tip says, am I crazy or was the PSVR one easier to find the sweet spot? I think you're crazy, but but I also felt the same way at the launch of PSVR 2. Now it's pop the headset on and I'm there. I don't have to adjust it at all. Just like PSVR 1. It took me a while to find the sweet spot, to find out how to pop that thing on and not have to think about it. It happened the exact same way for PSVR 2. It took a couple months until I really acclimated to just throwing it on and being good. But you might be crazy. You might not be.
I don't have trouble finding the sweet spot. I do have some issues staying in it. Like, I often have to push my headset up just a millimeter to make things come back into focus. I probably have to do that every 30 minutes or so. I don't know. So maybe a little bit.
All right, man. Moving on. We got even more information about the Foglands. You know, before we even talk about the Foglands, I really do want to gauge your interest, Wes. I mean, how much do you care about this game? I feel like this was something that showed up on State of Play, and a lot of people were like, "Huh, that looks kind of like a Quest game," and then didn't think about it at all ever again.
I've been super interested in it. Yeah, no, I've been super interested in this game since then, because there are so many elements here that that are familiar to me from games that I love, and it looks, at the same time that I say that, it looks like a different game, right? I see a lot of Light Brigade in here, which is one of my favorite releases of the year. But it's also got a bit more of a horror aesthetic to it, which is my jam. This game looks fun, and I'm actually very interested in it. So I'm not one of these people who just kind of, blew it off. Like, this has been, it's not in the top tier of the, it's not Arizona Sunshine 2. It's not Madison. It's not one of those like games that I'm, can't wait for. But it certainly is one that I've been interested in since its reveal.
I've been interested since the reveal as well. This looked like a lot of fun. When I found out it was a roguelite, I was even more interested because I definitely love roguelites. Although I got to say, we're getting to the tipping point on that. I do feel like VR has become very saturated with roguelites. This will probably be one of the last ones that I look forward to. And then I kind of hope that they fall off the radar for a while. That said, when watching this new trailer that debuted yesterday, it shows a lot of different types of gameplay in terms of, hey, we knew there was going to be melee. We knew there was going to be shooting. They also show some puzzles. I really like what I'm seeing here. And full disclosure, or I guess inside baseball, something or one or the other. Earlier today, I interviewed the game director over there at Well Told Entertainment, and we had a nice chat about the Foglands. It's the first developer interview I've done in quite a while, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun talking to him. I tried to milk as much information as I could. You can milk anything with nipples, Wes.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think he was fairly transparent, and so I'm gonna do my absolute best to get that interview up for Patreon supporters, hopefully tomorrow, but maybe late tomorrow night. And then of course it'll be available for everybody else within the week. Just very, very, very interested in this game, and I really, really hope it delivers on everything they're saying. Because not only does this new trailer look awesome, they announced a release date of October 31st and a price point of $35. And as I said to the game director, that's some End Dreams pricing right there. That's
very, very End Dreams.
That is the high end of what we would consider, I don't know, indie. I don't even know. I don't even know what to put the $35 price at. Like 40 is when you start expecting like first party Sony quality from the game.
Yep, they know that. They know that it's very well placed. Like, they want to say that we're still an indie game, but we're one of the best indie games.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple people in the chat have pointed out that this does end with a notice that you can play this without a headset, which is...
That was interesting. Nobody expected that, right? Like, this is a hybrid game, Brian. Where are the hybrid games, Brian? Here's a hybrid game.
Yeah. This is a hybrid game for sure. And I think it'll make everybody feel better to know that this was always in development as a VR game. That was That was the plan from the get-go. We're making an immersive VR game with a great story. And then later on, it very much became Sony going, "Hey, I bet you could do this for the flat screen too." And they were like, "Oh, Sony's telling us to do it. Let's fucking do it." So that's sort of what happened. Let me check the chat real quick here because I want to make sure that we don't move on until it's time to move on. PSVR Underground, what's up, AJ? Also, shout out to AJ. He gave me an awesome birthday tip on the last show, and I didn't even fucking read it. He's one of my best friends, and I didn't fucking read his tip because it got past me. Sometimes tips get past me. I apologize whenever that happens, you guys. But thank you, AJ. But his new tip reads, after the fall is just mining zombies. What is going on today? Like, these are all valid viewpoints, but we're all just bitching about games today.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, I mean, it's a fair point, but it's still fun.
It is fun. No, it's not. It is true. I don't think it's fun. GamerCat Chicago. Nope, just GameCat Chicago with a $2 tip says, will Assassin's Creed hit PSVR2? Speculate.
Maybe eventually. I don't think that so we have a little bit of context here because when they initially announced Assassin's Creed, they announced it alongside a Splinter Cell game, which has since been canceled because of Meta pulling back funding. And part of the story with that was with them pulling back their funding, they're also pulling back their rights to exclusivity. So I don't think it was initially intended to be something that could come to other platforms, but I do think it's very possible now that maybe we see this game sometime next year.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm trying to find some footage here for it. I know that some of the stuff they showed looked okay, and some of it didn't look so great. But I mean, Assassin's Creed games don't interest me all that much. Like on the flat screen, I played Black Flag and absolutely loved it. Could not get enough of that game. And then I was like, oh, I'll get the next one. And then I just was like, no, I don't. Apparently, I don't like Assassin's Creed games. I just like pirate games.
I'm pretty interested because these levels are supposedly pretty big. Like it's not a true open world, but they're calling it an open world game. So when you're bouncing around from rooftop to rooftop, able to kind of jump in and kill people on the ground, unsuspecting people, it gives me just a little taste of what I want from the infamous VR game that I've wished for many years. So I think that aspect of it looks cool. I think in terms of like the graphics and stuff, I think it looks pretty good, especially when you consider it's a standalone VR game. So an upgraded PSVR2 version would be cool, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the environments look really nice. As you guys know, I really do enjoy Stride for even what it was with no campaign. So giving us that kind of parkour action in VR and giving us a full campaign. This is just like Black Flag. This would give me a reason to jump into an Assassin's Creed game again, just because it's in VR. So I really do hope we get it. But I'm also very curious to hear reviews when it comes out. Very curious. Also, that drop attack that he just did is reminding me of Vampire the Masquerade, and I'm wondering if Vampire will satisfy any of these kind of gameplay itches that I want to scratch. Boy, I should just stop talking. I don't know.
Assume these are the November games, Brian.
All right. Chrome Cola. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me figure out where I'm supposed to be here. Awesome Tatum with the level 3 membership says No Man's Sky, a game where you have to know the periodic table just to get basic items.
Yeah,
it's one of those days. It is true. GameCat Chicago with the $5 tip says happy belated birthday, Brian. My birthday is midnight tonight. Well, happy early birthday, GameCat Chicago.
Yeah, I had no idea it was your birthday. I did tune in for a minute on the last episode, and someone mentioned it being your birthday, but the way you kind of downplayed it, I thought it was just a joke. I didn't think it was actually your birthday. You're like, hey, yeah, that's enough. Let's move on. So happy birthday, Brian. I didn't think it was actually your birthday. For some reason, I thought your birthday was in November.
Yeah.
But
Listen, I don't know other people's birthdays. I don't keep track of other people's birthdays, and so when you don't get a happy birthday from me, it's because I don't make a big deal about mine. I won't make a big deal about yours. And if I find out that it's yours, I'll say happy birthday. And that's kind of how I deal with it. Like, you get to a certain point, after 21, it's pointless. There's nothing like, what are we celebrating at this point? You can drink now. What's next? Nothing.
Nothing, exactly.
Right. If other people care about birthdays more than me, that's great. I'm very happy for you, but it's just never been something I cared that much about. So yeah, I do tend to downplay it. Chrome Colossus with the $5 tip says Stream has been getting ad interruptions. FYI, love you both as usual. Here's a dinosaur. We need more of them in VR. A little dinosaur emoji. Okay, so YouTube is, as you guys know, I've been having issues, and not everybody has. Most people haven't. I've been getting issues where I have to go in and manually remove ad breaks because some people are getting ads every 3 or 4 minutes. So after every Gamescast, I have to wait for it to be done processing and then remember to go in, add the timestamps that Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry sends me, and then also delete a bunch of ad breaks. And so that I must not be the only person that was having that issue, because new ad break options have been appearing over the last few days on YouTube before you do a live stream. And so today's says every 30 minutes. And I was like, well, every 30 minutes that's the most amount of time you can have between ad breaks if you have them inserted automatically. So I was like, yeah, every 30 minutes is fine. If somebody's watching an hour and a half Gamescast, that means there's like 1, maybe 2 ad breaks. That's not bad. And then, but what I didn't realize is that they'd be inserting them live. I didn't realize that. So again, it's a learning experience, and I will fix that for the next time. My apologies. Frost the Behemoth Cat upgraded membership to level 3. Awesome. Welcome to level 3, Frost. Time to play VR with the 2 quid says time to play with the 2 quid says hello you. That was a confusing way to do that, but I love it.
It works.
All right, it's time to move on. We got a lot more stuff to talk about, I think. Actually, we got 2 more big things to talk about, and then I think it's time to. Also, I have no idea whose turn it is to do 20 questions.
I don't either. I have no clue.
Somebody check Wednesday's show and then tell us. Tell us who did 20 questions. I don't remember. It's been a while. I think Miles picked it, so maybe it's my turn to pick it. I don't remember.
I'll accept that.
All right. Okay, and the next news story is a little bit strange because it comes from a new PlayStation VR2 promo video. And it comes with a new tagline called "Find Your Next Reality." Just watching it as we go here. It's got Horizon, Gran Turismo, Village. Really starts off with some, AAA bangers. Move into Firewall Ultra. I'm just reading what's on the screen for all the podcast listeners. Synapse, good stuff. Moving along. We're going to get there. People screaming in VR with the headset off. Nice. Crossfire Sierra Squad. Good stuff. Great game.
Yep.
Yeah, she's way too happy to have that headset on. Oh, hers was on. Then we got Project Wingman Frontline 59. Just like fucking thrown in there as if it was something that had already officially been previously announced. Whereas the only time we ever heard of Project Wingman coming to PSVR2 was when the German PlayStation blog accidentally did that weird ass leak where it was just all this random shit, and gradually all of that shit came true, and we were like, oh, that was real. That was legit. The only thing that we haven't actually seen video or screenshots of is Solaris Outworld Combat 2, which First Contact Entertainment actually confirmed and said, oh, well, the cat's out of the bag. That is something we're going to do. So the only thing we were waiting on at this point was Project Wingman. And here it is, just fucking in the middle of this Find Your Next Reality promo vid. And people played it at TGS. Did you know that? People played it at TGS?
I had no idea until today. But apparently people played it at TGS. Yeah,
people are saying it's good. And then the developers there, or whoever was showcasing it, said it's ready to be released. It is coming very, very, very soon. And some people implied that to mean October. So let's just fucking chuck another game onto the fire. Watch it all burn. So Project Wingman, we are finally getting I guess the one downside.
Gamescom.
Oh, Gamescom, not
We're being
TGS.
corrected. It's Gamescom.
My
Yeah.
bad. I apologize. The one not so great thing we're hearing is that it's going to be played with a DualSense. So
Right.
there's no, you're not going to be using the Sense controllers and like pushing buttons and pulling levers, doing virtual HOTAS type stuff. So
It's fine. It's fine. I don't like virtual HOTAS. I always, when I have an option to use like gamepad style controls instead of using virtual HOTAS, I always do that. So that doesn't really disappoint me all that much. Although I do hope it supports like actual HOTAS, because that could be cool.
yeah, I mean, how could it not?
Right.
You-
Right.
you-
Like
you'd hope so.
Gran Turismo. Like Gran Turismo doesn't let you use motion controllers, but you can hook your wheel up and play that way.
Right. Yeah. So very exciting. A lot of people have been wanting a flight sim or a flight arcade game, any kind of flight game. Some people have just been begging for one for a long time. And knowing that this is not only officially announced, but also right around the corner, I think is extremely exciting. Very much
Agreed.
looking forward to this.
Story campaign apparently expanded from the original Project Wingman to a much longer campaign now. Yeah, seems cool. Seems like the Ace Combat that we've all been kind of hoping for years now.
Right. Yeah, and people are asking like, well, what the fuck happened to Aces of Thunder? Well, probably next year. It's like, well, yeah.
No, November.
Well, or October, whatever. Yeah, this the last we heard about this, at least, it seemed like this was very focused on, if maybe only including single player. So this is like our big single player aerial adventure, and then Aces of Thunder is our much more multiplayer focused game, coming from the War Thunder people. So some good stuff happening.
Yeah, cool. Another cool title genre that we don't have anything for yet. So yeah, good news.
Nice. Well, that leads us to our big news story of the day, Wes, and that's that today, people who traveled to go play Arizona Sunshine 2 were allowed to talk about their experience and showcase 4 to 5 screenshots that Vertigo Games themselves provided for them to use in said articles.
Not even any B-roll, Brian, just some screenshots.
It's true. It's funny because on the 27th, on Wednesday's show, we were looking at like 3 or 4 seconds of an animated GIF that was showing actual gameplay. It was somebody like, kind of poking in and out of cover, shooting zombies. And on that very same tweet, they wrote, "Keep your eyes peeled for more Arizona Sunshine 2 news this Friday." But little did we know, it was just going to be, dude, I gotta be honest, it's like some fucking B-tier news sites. Like sites that I don't read unless I have to, unless they're the only ones with the news stories that I'm covering. Like what, Road to VR didn't do this, Upload VR didn't do this. It's just like Eurogamer didn't do this. Like all the places that you would normally go to get some VR news, none of these people went and played the game. None of them.
It makes me wonder what tier I'm on, Brian, because like there aren't a lot of bigger Arizona Sunshine fans than me. I love that game. And like I would have jumped at the opportunity to go do this. I would have done a video and an article. I would have shown all of their 5 screenshots. Like I would have loved to have been able to play this. So I must be like D tier or maybe even lower.
Maybe. I know that I was invited, I believe, if this is the same event, I was invited to go. And I said, no, thank you. Because I was going to have to fly cross country or something to go play a game for an hour. And I was like, no. And I didn't even know that I wasn't coming home with gameplay footage. I turned it down before that. So that's how little I want to do this. I am very, very curious about Arizona Sunshine 2. I really hope it delivers. I hope it's a fantastic game. these guys being able to go back to the game that really put them on the map and be able to improve it and give and deliver another nice long campaign. As we previously mentioned, Rob Yescombe writing the script for this, and just something that's a little bit more evolved in the VR space than the sort of the primitive stuff we got 7 years ago. It's exciting. It's an exciting time when big games that we love are getting big sequels. And I still didn't want to go. So that tells you how much I don't really enjoy leaving my apartment. So unfortunately, I looked through when you just go to Google and you do a search for Arizona Sunshine 2 preview or whatever, it is shocking the sites that actually took them up on this offer, wrote these articles, and honestly, they all kind of sound like AI written articles. Like write me an article about a VR game that involves shooting zombies. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, fucking sit tight, because we're about to read through one of them. This is the best one, by the way, the best one. There was like maybe 5-6 articles that I found, and this was the best out of all of them. This comes from Brandon Lizard over at thegamer.com. Headline: Arizona Sunshine 2 preview. The dead dog trope is scarier in VR. Recently, I met up with a few folks from Vertigo Games to get an early preview of Arizona Sunshine 2, a VR zombie shooting action adventure. A sequel to the first Arizona Sunshine 2, it follows a wisecracking protagonist as he travels through the ruined, zombie-filled remains of Arizona. Tell me that doesn't sound like it was written by an AI who's never played a video game before.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
No question.
Gameplay-wise, it's fairly straightforward. You roam around a more or less linear landscape, scavenging for food or ammo and fighting the various zombies you encounter. On occasion, you'll also come across an environmental puzzle or stand-your-ground style horde attack. Still, this is Arizona Sunshine 1 so far.
No.
This makes Arizona Sunshine 2 a very true sequel, keeping the familiar tone, atmosphere, mechanics, and characters of the first game. You still travel through a sunny, ruined landscape, facing real dangers, using a variety of weapons and making silly jokes. At the same time, it introduces new ways to enhance the experience beyond the original, with dynamic weapon reloading mechanics, crafting systems, and of course, the dog. Weapon reloading is more interactive and varied than before. While reloading a pistol is as simple as inserting a clip and pulling the hammer, larger weapons may require more complicated and hands-on methods. Shotguns require shells to be loaded in one at a time, grenade launchers are opened by pulling down on the nose, and so on. It's much more engaging compared to the traditional slap an ammo clip into anywhere solution most VR games use. It's funny, one of the articles was so excited about manual reloads, saying that it felt like a mini game to push a button to eject the clip and then put another one in and then cock the gun. Like, I was like, you've never played a VR game before. so at least this one was dealt with it a little bit better. There's also a crafting system now, which is admittedly the most underwhelming part of the demo I played. You find random junk such as screws, tape, etc. Then you select recipes and smack the ingredients together at designated crafting stations to create useful items. All I encountered were basic recipes for explosives. While it gave more reason to scavenge for loot beyond food, the limited inventory space meant that it was hard to care much about crafting more than whatever was convenient at the moment. Unless the options are more expansive in the full game, it will be easy to ignore crafting altogether. It's kind of a bummer. I love crafting in games, and I like scavenging. So I'm really hoping that he's talking about limited inventory space. A lot of these games will allow you to craft more inventory space or level up to a certain level where you just suddenly have more. So I'm really hoping that becomes the case here.
Plus, you can store items on the dog.
True.
So hopefully you have like an inventory space for finished products, fully formed weapons, and then you have another backpack that you can carry components around. The kind of big plus I'm taking away from this is that I'll have more to look for than hamburgers, which is kind of what I wanted from an Arizona Sunshine sequel. Like I like the recipe, right? I don't mind being a linear, story-driven zombie shooter. I would have liked more scavenging for it, and it sounds like we're going to get that.
Yeah. Regardless, that's not the front man of the game. Arizona Sunshine 2 introduces another mechanic far greater than anything else I've been over already. Buddy the dog. Posed as the focus of the game, Buddy travels alongside the protagonist to lend a hand or paw on your adventure. You can issue commands to him, allowing him to access out-of-reach areas and fighting zombies alongside of you. You can even have him carry extra weapons or wear cute little hats. He's adorable, helpful, and I became emotionally attached within the 45-minute time frame available to me. That's cute. You gotta love animal companions in games.
Yeah, it certainly sounds from what I've seen today that the Buddy was the star of the show for sure.
Pizza bet? This dog's gonna fucking die by the end of the game, right?
Probably, although the dog is not able to take damage in the minute-to-minute gameplay, which I found strange because you can have the dog attack and kill zombies, but can't take damage. That's a little weird.
Yeah, it probably does minimal attack. Probably just a good distraction to keep the horde completely off of you. Maybe, I don't know. But that's important, Wes. You got to keep the dog alive so that narratively you can kill him right before the finale.
Right, exactly. Well, like the way Fallout 4 did it, and by the way, that's what this sounds like. Fallout 4, you have a dog that goes with you everywhere. It can carry, carry stuff on it if you run out of inventory space. But that dog could take damage. It couldn't completely die, but it could get like maimed to the point where it wasn't able to do anything but lie there until you heal it. So I would have liked to have seen something like that here.
I played a lot of Fallout 4. I don't remember the dog being a big part of my adventure. So maybe like I just was like, you were just too much effort and just left him somewhere. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But it's still a zombie game at its core, a classic concept in horror media. The sight of rot and decay as it surrounds and overwhelms you can be panic-inducing, even with your canine companion. I've always held that any game is scarier in VR. Agreed. The level of immersion from the format allows dark alleys, approaching monsters, and hidden dangers to feel far more real than on TV or monitor. And yet, it's not the zombies that scare me, nor is it the unsettling quiet of walking around in the derelict landscape of the Southwest. It's the dog. The damn dog. Most folks are aware of the dead dog trope. Oh, here we go. The media cliche implies that if a dog is presented in a narrative, the dog will later die for dramatic effect. Especially common in movies, it can be done to reinforce the threat of a hostile force, like when a dog runs into a cornfield where aliens are and is never found again. It's also commonly used for emotional impact, where the death of a beloved companion can allow for an emotional turning point. This is not the only article data on that.
For sure, this dog's going to run around a corner and during some cinema scene, and you're just going to hear a bloop, and that's going to be it.
God, it's going to be bad. I can get over the dead dog trope on a narrative level. It's common, but it's effective for a reason. The core of my concern lies with the format, VR. Like with most VR, the emotions are more easily expressed in virtual reality. That includes creating emotional bonds with fictional dogs. When you can see Buddy right in front of you and can actually reach down and pet him with your own hands, it becomes startlingly easy to grow fond of this little fella, and that's what scares me. You're taking the most immersive format, giving me a friendly pupper, and dangling the most emotionally heartbreaking idea off in the distance. Odds are I'm going to grow to love Buddy. I'm going to trauma bond with this beautiful boy, and I'm going to be legitimately upset should he perish. I don't know if they're actually going to do it either, and that in itself is terribly clever. I'm going to be fraught with panic anytime something possibly dangerous happens to him. Will he get injured while running from a horde? Will he get infected? Will it be something as small as him going off somewhere and not coming back? Each idea terrifies me. Sometimes the fear of losing someone. Dude, these guys played a 45-minute demo, and this guy talked for 65% of his column about something that didn't happen in the game yet.
Yep.
Yeah. Not every dog has to beef it to get the point across. I know this, but consider the story and setting of the first Arizona Sunshine game. It follows a lone protagonist who's been living in isolation for years as he treks through the zombified remains in Arizona. In his quest to make contact with others, the humor used masking loneliness begins to crack, and we can hear the restrained tears in his voice. We see a broken man starting to crumble. It's beautiful and eloquent display of how a person masks pain in difficult times. The second game moves away from the story of isolation into one of companionship with more of a focus on Buddy. Vertigo is taking a broken man, giving him a best friend, and expecting not to worry for the dog's life. It's emotionally devastating waiting for it to happen. All in all, though, I look forward to playing Arizona Sunshine 2 when it launches. What I experienced in the preview aligned perfectly with the studio's track record, and the new additions I encountered seemed natural and interesting enough to make it feel like a proper sequel. If you like the first game, you'll like this one, potential dog death notwithstanding. So you spent a lot of time talking about the potential to lose your dog. But I will say, most of the articles didn't do much more beyond this. They all talk about it's a lot of just basic shooting zombies. So I think maybe the first 45 minutes of this game isn't enough to get a feel for it. Some of these people flew halfway across the country. It's crazy.
One of the videos I watched today said that this was a mid-level that they played. Actually, it wasn't the start of the game.
Oh.
I don't think we're going to get anything that's terribly deeper in terms of gameplay loop than the original Arizona Sunshine. I do think it's going to be a proper sequel. I think we're going to have next-gen graphics. We're going to have next-gen weapon mechanics. Animations, importantly, are going to be next-gen. We're going to have, slightly more scavenging, a little bit of crafting, a lot more creative ways to kill a lot wider variety of zombies. But I still very much think this is going to be Arizona Sunshine. It's just going to be this generation's version of Arizona Sunshine, which is fine. It's fine by me. It's what I wanted after the fall to be. So the fact that we're getting it now, I'm pretty excited about.
Agreed. Yep. Still want to see some gameplay footage, man. Seeing a 3 to 5 second animated GIF was not, it's not what I wanted the debut of gameplay to look like. Hearing about people playing it was not how I wanted to.
It's weird.
Take in first impressions of the game. I want to see a video of people playing.
Yeah, it's a weird choice, right? I mean, I get what they're doing. They're trying to drip feed us and keep people interested in the game over a span of time. But the drip is a little too slow. Like, this would have been the time to give us a little bit of B-roll, right? Let us see the game a little bit. Because, obviously the naysayers and cynics are going to say this game isn't as good as what they're saying, because if it was, they'd be showing it off. But I believe that people are saying this game is beautiful, that it looks great, and that the animations are great. And, one of the most impactful things about this version of Arizona Sunshine is kind of the dismemberment mechanics. And you can shoot something in the leg and it just shreds its leg in a very, visceral way. And which is great. All stuff that we expected. I'm glad to hear that it's in there, but a little weird that they're deciding to wait to show it to us. Yeah, I would have thought that, maybe if they don't want to show gameplay yet, then they probably shouldn't be talking about it at all right now.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at too. I kind of wonder exactly, because you don't just invite people to these types of events and then they're there the next day. It requires weeks of planning and making sure that people have flights and hotel rooms, whatever else. And so you kind of got to wonder if a month ago they thought that this would be in a different state, if they thought they'd be ready to show off gameplay, or exactly what the thought process was behind it. That said, I mean, much more than reading any of these people's impressions today and seeing 5 screenshots from Vertigo themselves, I absolutely would have preferred seeing 15 seconds of a vertical slice that they had perfected that said this is what the final game is going to look like, and here's 15 seconds of walking down this alley and shooting some zombies or something. I don't even know. But
yeah, little weird, but I'm still very optimistic. I'm still very much looking forward to it, and I hope it does come this year.
I hope it comes this year too. It's supposed to come this year, and you know what? I hope it doesn't come this year. I'm concerned that this game needs more time in the oven. So fucking put it back in, turn up the heat, and let's see this shit in March, because we've got games in October, in November, in December.
I think you might get your wish, because they were kind of non-committal about launching on all platforms at the same time.
Oh, really?
Like they said that's the goal. That's the goal. That's what they want to do, but they reserve the right to not do that. So
Okay.
what that tells me is that we're probably going to get this on PC this year, and it's probably coming to other platforms next year sometime.
Fine by me. Totally fine by me. Let's get back to these tips. Professor Lilith with the $5 tip says, "Hi, Gamecats." Hey, Lilith. This week's Sunday multiplayer will be Demeo at 2 p.m. Eastern. Guys, if you're not a member of our Discord, join. Click the link in the description below. While you're there, subscribe to Virtual Strangers. Every Sunday, we get together and we play a bunch of games, or we play a game that gets voted on previously in the week, and the winner of that was Demeo. So if Demeo's sitting in your catalog, in your library on PlayStation, and you're just like, I don't have anybody to play this with, well, come hang out with us. Because on Sunday, everyone's going to be playing Demeo. I won't. But everyone else
Friday,
will.
Brian. I forgot it was Friday. I'm like, wow, they've already picked the game this time. They never do that. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, the rest of your weekend is fucked.
Yeah.
Wake up tomorrow thinking it's Thursday. Time to play VR with the 2 quid says, will the PS4 HOTAS work on PSVR2? The answer is yeah, I think so. As far as I know, there's only one HOTAS that has been around. I was talking to Albert about this, and this is the only reason it's fresh in my mind. They haven't released like a new HOTAS in forever. So I really think if you've got the PS3 one or the PS4 one, it'll work on PlayStation 5 because they just haven't released a new one. I guess there's just not that many flight games. I don't know why they haven't released a new one yet. It'd be nice to get one with haptics in it, or better haptics.
It's a low volume peripheral. I mean, among sim enthusiasts, most like legit sim enthusiasts are PC gamers anyway. And among sim enthusiasts, I would say over half of them are racing enthusiasts. Like it seems like the flight sim guys are really a niche within a niche within a niche. So I got to imagine that there's not the biggest market for that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
But yeah, you think there would be one, right? There would be one new one with some new button on it or some new haptics or something, adaptive trigger, something,
anything. Yep. So we do believe it will work. If Project Wingman supports a HOTAS, we do believe the one that we've been using should work on with the game.
I don't have one.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I did have one, and I was like, this hunk of fucking junk plastic, because it's the one I had was so cheap. Like, it was the cheapest one you could possibly get. And I was just like, this is just taking up space. It's ugly. I'm never going to use it again. And I think I just tossed it.
That's right.
I don't know. Jonathan Bloxham, also known as Jonathan Roblox, with the $10 tip says, "Hi, Brian. Long time no see." Hi. What are your thoughts about Sony getting hacked and may shut down the PSN? Hopefully not, because all of these good-looking titles, or these good titles coming up during the holidays, Arizona Sunshine to LG, AZ-Sun to LG. These are words. These are probably real words. We talked about Sony getting hacked on Monday's show. That was actually the headline, and we talked about it for like literally 5 minutes. We're just gonna have to wait and see like how big of a deal this is. These people are threatening.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing, Brian.
We're gonna get some free games out of it.
We're going to force them to make some fucking announcements and show us something, because it's going to get leaked if they don't. Like, they're going to have to say something now, no matter if they wanted to or not. They have to now. Or if there really is nothing coming, we're going to find out that there's nothing coming. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I'm all for it.
Deadringer the Game Cat with a $2 tip says, "Brian said send the PSVR2 dev kit to me instead. LOL." That was in reference to me not flying out to go play Arizona Sunshine 2, I'm guessing. I mean, seriously, like, just why don't I have a dev kit? I need to procure a dev kit for myself. Macho, the real estate procrastinating Game Cat with the $2 tip says, "I said it, Brian, crafting, and I got my wish." He said it, and he got his wish.
Crafting.
Virtual Slayer Cat with the Canadian $5 tip says, anyone hear any news on Ghost of Tabor for PSVR2? Should come out in October, I think. Oh man, so sorry. That got delayed forever ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not coming this year.
Next year.
At all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. There's your news. Macho Real Estate Procrastinating Gamecat with the $2 tip says, no more pre-orders. Sorry, devs. It's been ruined. Look at that. Somebody is practicing what they preach.
That's true. That's true. It has been ruined again.
Yep. Maxwell Ritt with the $2 tip says, wait, do we have actual gameplay now? I can't find it. If this pertains to Arizona Sunshine 2, no, we do not. We have a bunch of CG teasers and trailers and like 4 screenshots that Vertigo sent out for people to use in these articles.
There's one GIF.
Yeah.
There's one GIF. It's like 2 or 3 seconds of gameplay.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, it looks cool. But yeah, it doesn't show much.
Miles and I were making fun of it a little bit on Wednesday's show. So we got a whole segment on it on Wednesday's show. So if you want to hear Miles and I talk about that, go check that out. I'm sure it's timestamped by Henry. But we were making fun of it a little bit because the dude does look like he's kind of like popping in and out of cover. And I was like, they're fucking zombies. They're not shooting back. Like, why do you need a cover shooter for a zombie game? And so the only thought was that maybe there's like some other human survivors, like in The Last of Us, that you'd be. Yeah.
That's a thought I had a minute ago when we were talking about how the dog's going to die. Like, I'm thinking maybe toward the end of the game, we get some evil humans, Walking Dead style, where you go around a corner, you hear the yelp, right? You think a zombie's got your buddy, and you go around the corner, and there's an asshole with a gun looking you right square between the eyes. Like, that would be cool. I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that too. Remember, Rob Yescombe is writing this, so anything could happen. Bum, bum, bum. All right, bud. You ready to play some PSVR 20 questions and get this show on the road?
Not at all, but I will do my best.
Yeah, we got to do it, man. My throat has been like hurting since the beginning of the show. Like I've been forcing words out for the last hour and 40 minutes. So let's get this thing moving. I picked out a game. You guys in the chat have 20. You guys in the chat can help Wes out. You get 20 yes or no questions in only 6 minutes to figure out what PSVR 1 or 2 game I am thinking of. On your mark. Get Des. Go.
Did AJ help you pick out this game, Brian?
No.
No, he didn't. Okay. Is this game announced or released on PSVR 2?
No.
No. So PSVR 1 only. Is this game on any other VR platforms?
Yes. Yes.
So it's a cross-platform Gen 1 VR game. Is it playable flat?
I believe so. I'm looking it up just to make sure.
That is interesting. I'll give you a moment to look that up.
No, you can play it flat.
You can play it flat. So it is an early hybrid game. It's cross-platform, which means it was probably on PC as well. Is it a flight sim?
No, that's 5.
Okay. Is it a racing game?
Nope.
Not a racing game. Does it support move controllers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Does it support DualShock?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, of course it would support DualShock. It's a flat game. That was a throwaway. All right. Full locomotion?
Yes.
Full locomotion move controller game. Is it a shooter?
No, that's 10.
Not a shooter. Is it from a known IP?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a Star Wars game?
No.
Not a Star Wars game. Did we talk about it today?
No.
Okay. Not a shooter. We didn't talk about it today. It's also playable flat, but he wasn't quite sure about that.
It took me a second to remember, but yeah. And there's a reason for that, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay. Was okay. No, I probably shouldn't do that. It's a puzzle game.
There are puzzles.
Platformer?
No, that's 15.
No platforming. Damn, we're running out of questions quick here, ladies and gents.
Big time. But
right,
you've got
full
a crazy amount of time left. This never happens.
All right. So it's got puzzles. It's not exactly a puzzle game. It's got puzzles, playable flat, full locomotion with move controller support. It's on other VR platforms as well. No, I don't think it's Home Sweet Home. Is it a horror game, Brian?
Yes.
It is a horror game. Okay. It would be weird if you had to think about whether it was playable flat or not, because that's obviously playable flat. No, we talked about Blair Witch today, so it couldn't be that. Maybe it is Home Sweet Home. Yeah, it could be. The Bloober team developed this game, Brad?
No.
No, okay.
Thank God it's not Blair Witch, because I don't remember us talking about that today.
Is the game based upon Asian folklore?
No. You have one more question and a guess.
All right, so horror game that's playable on multiple platforms, full locomotion, based on an IP. Like it could be Don't Knock Twice. I think I don't know the controller support for that game, but that fits a few of the criteria. It's not Layers of Fear because it didn't come from Bloober Team. What other horror games besides Don't Knock Twice are there, people, that kind of fit the I mean, I guess Resident Evil. Is it from Capcom, Brian?
Nope.
All right. So yeah, it would either be no, I mean it could be one of three. It could be The Exorcist, it could be Paranormal Activity, it could be Don't Knock Twice, could be Five Nights at Freddy's. So the key here, people, is the controllers. Like, do all these games support DualShock? Because I don't know. I played most of this stuff on PC, so I'm not sure if it, what the locomotion support is. How much time do we have, Brian?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. All right. Can I have 3 more questions?
I'll give you one more question. How about that? One more bonus question, then you have to guess.
I won't cheat. I'll just guess. Really? You think it's FNAF?
5 seconds.
Okay. 5 seconds. Is it FNAF, Brian? Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted?
Coming out all the way back on August 14th of 2017. Initially only supported move controllers. Initially did not support the flat screen. Paranormal Activity, The Lost Soul.
I had it.
Eventually added DualShock controls. Eventually was playable flat screen, but not.
See, that's why I didn't go with the Paranormal Activity game, because I didn't think that was playable flat. That is playable flat.
Yep.
Wow, yep. I had no idea about that.
Dude, thank God on the store page, the first sentence now says, now playable on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR. VR no longer required. That's the first sentence. Because I was like, wow. that almost, because I could not remember properly.
So kudos to you for knowing that, by the way, because that was literally the thing that eliminated that for me. I was going to go with that. And then at the very last second, when you said 5 seconds, I was like, oh yeah, that game doesn't support flat, so it can't be that. Dude. And I trusted Looper, and Looper led me astray.
Looper, I believe, was the first person that I saw say Paranormal Activity, by the way. Just so, yeah, maybe it was overthought. Looper the Underground Gamecat with the saying Paranormal Activity was the first 20 questions game ever. AJ and Dave got it in 14 questions. See?
Well, good on them. I didn't. I went a little too quickly, burned through my questions too fast. Yeah.
Always
But
a good time.
it was a valiant effort. We did at least mention the correct thing before we guessed. So I'll call that a moral victory.
When you mention 5 games before selecting the wrong one, it's hard to get it wrong. It's hard to not get a moral victory then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great game though, by the way. I really hope that this gets a PSVR 2 port because it looked great on PSVR 1. It definitely could use a little revamp in the control side of things, but man, it was scary. And the last time I played it wasn't that long ago, and it holds up. It's still really scary. And there's multiple things that you can just miss entirely in the game. And if you know what you're doing, you can find an entire room that you couldn't, that you wouldn't have found on your first run through. So very, very cool. Very, very cool.
I agree. Good game. Solid game. I don't put it in the like top tier of horror games, but that's only a few games. This is definitely in that tier right underneath that. It's a very good game.
Agreed. Before we head off, I want to make sure we give a shout out to the gamer formerly known as Get In LOL, My Belly, Gamecat Wilkins with the $50 tip. What I gotta copy and paste this pair. What is this pair doing? Notepad will tell us when we copy and paste it. Giant pair waving flags and turning around, making the buildings in front of him tremble. Who writes these descriptions? Probably AI. Doing a great job. Thank you so much, everybody, for your generosity tonight. And thank you, everybody who supports the channel. Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry with his timestamps. Brypop for uploading this to podcast services of your choice. Everybody supports the channel financially over on patreon.com/withoutparole Don't forget, you guys, you've got an interview coming with the Foglands dude coming real soon. I'm also going to try to make that available for the same tier of the YouTube members. So thank you guys for being YouTube members. Thanks everybody who tips during the show. You're keeping the lights on. You're keeping the pizza coming. We appreciate you so very much. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you to everybody who hangs out during the show, entertains us while we try to entertain you, and everybody who sits back and watches the show and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there and we love you just as much. Happy Friday, Wes.
Happy Friday, Brian. It's the weekend. Woohoo!